philthebaws opting to stay in against Metagross, he's farming up, and we are going to YOLO the Earthquake. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Welcome back to the channel. Buckle up, because today is going to be one hell of a ride. We have the absolute pleasure of shoutcasting one of my favourite battlers, a very well respected and well known Spice Lord of the community, philthebaws. philthebaws is the former Ultra League Battler Spice Champion, a competition held by the GOAT Callum on Toast. However, today he's bringing his spicy tactics to the Master League Premier Cup. He's going to be showcasing a level 50 Shadow Sceptile, running quite a spicy moveset. So not only got a spicy mon, we've got a spicy moveset. Sceptile, of course, has access to Leaf Blade, which is without a doubt the best move in the game. 35 energy, 70 damage. However, we are not running Leaf Blade. We've got Breaking Swipe and Earthquake. We've also got a level 50 Shadow Ampharos with that Hail Mary Zap Cannon, looking to catch a few people off guard, rounding the team off, giving the teams a very much needed bulk. We've got the big thick boy, Shadow Snorlax. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we lead Sceptile into Garchomp. The opponent says no thank you, safe switch into the big thick boy. We force a Protect Shield with a Breaking Swipe and then respond with Ampharos. Ampharos not particularly bulky in this format. Despite it being level 50, Ampharos doesn't have the biggest stat product. You can see Body Slam does around 40%. The next one is going to get us approaching the red health. Undeterred, philthebaws farms up, and we are looking for that kill shot. Full send in the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon, unfortunately, does go shielded. The opponent puts up both Protect Shields, and we've now got ourselves in a situation where we have a 2-0 shield advantage. We might have a 2 shield advantage, however the opposing Snorlax is still very, very healthy and in the green. We send out our own Snorlax. Let's see if the opponent's got superpower. Even if they do, they're unwilling to throw it. Most Snorlax in this format are going to be running the same moveset as philthebaws with Outrage, because Annihilate is going to be a very annoying threat to deal with if you don't have it. To my surprise, the opponent actually does have superpower. They then send out Garchomp. Garchomp greeted with the Outrage. We then see the pivot into Sceptile. Sceptile able to outpace to the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe will be securing the knockout. The opponent sends back out the big thick boy. Unfortunately, Breaking Swipe won't quite be lethal from this range, so philthebaws opts to continue to farm up. The opponent throws on alignment, giving us a free bullet seed. Phil now heavily over farms and 4 firing off the Earthquake. Earthquake from this range will be securing the knockout. Sceptile left very deep in the red. Out comes Magnezone. The opponent looks for that Volt Switch farm down. Sceptile's like, nah. Get that Magnezone off my screen. We land back-to-back Earthquakes and take that game. We are quite literally one battle in, and I'm already losing my shit. In the next battle, dreadful lead. Sceptile completely walled by Togekiss. We safe switch into Snorlax, and the opponent responds with Haxorus. Things not looking fantastic. The opponent fires off the Breaking Swipe. philthebaws looking to return fire with the Outrage, hoping to sneak it through 2 Protect Shields. Outrage, unfortunately, goes shielded, and the opponent's going to get a massive counter farm down. philthebaws now sends back out Sceptile, looking to get some use out of it. However, Sceptile insanely glassy. Breaking Swipe does so much damage. philthebaws returns fire with his own Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe lands, unfortunately, isn't quite enough to knock out. The opponent reaches one further charge move, and philthebaws is going to put it all on Ampharos, hoping to sweep. Out comes Ampharos. Ampharos looks for that Volt Switch farm down. Unfortunately, we're unable to get it. The opponent just refuses to die. The opponent fires off one further Breaking Swipe, but luckily we see no debuff. Back out comes Togekiss. We full send the Zap Cannon. Does the opponent respect the damage? Get that Togekiss off my screen. The opponent's final Pokemon is Metagross. No, please tell me we're not going to get resisted Bullet Punch farm down. We YOLO yet another Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon, unfortunately, goes shielded. The opponent gets the resisted Bullet Punch farm down, and we're going to take a heartbreaking loss. In the next battle, we lead Shadow Sceptile into Primarina. You'd think a Grass type into Water type. This would be an advantageous matchup. However, this is one prime example of where we are going to miss Leaf Blade. philthebaws farms up a boatload of energy, full sends an Earthquake, and of course the opponent craps their pants, putting up that Protect Shield. We then safe switch into Snorlax, and we're met by Porygon. Holy, that is some spice from the opponent. I have never seen this thing in the Master League. Porygon has access to one of the most annoying charge moves in the game, Tri Attack. It's got a 50% chance to not only debuff your attack, but also your defense by 1 stage. The opponent must have been praying to them RNG gods as they get the debuff instantly. Philthebaws then returns fire with the Outrage, which isn't the most energy efficient move from Snorlax, but as he was only going to reach one move, it did do more damage. Philthebaws now sends out Ampharos. Ampharos shields up the tri-attack. Luckily this time we don't get debuff. Back out comes Primarina, and Philthebaws makes a very nice catch. Catching this Disarming Voice back onto Sceptile. Back out comes Ampharos. Ampharos looks for that Volt Switch. Farm down. Ooh. The opponent reaches the departing Disarming Voice, and Philthebaws now finds himself all shields down. Back out comes Porygon. We fire off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing does secure the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Garchomp, and unfortunately this just is unwinnable. Brutal Swing essentially does nothing. Philthebaws stops tapping, concedes the match, and we take yet another heartbreaking loss. In the next battle, we see Excadrill in the lead. If it was on Leaf Blade, we'd be able to win the Zero Shields, a straight Leaf Blade. However, of course, we could try and nuke the opponent through 2 Protect Shields. However, Excadrill cannot tank a hit for shit, and I think this is a guaranteed shield, but undeterred, Phil YOLOs the Earthquake. No, it goes unshielded. The opponent fucked about. They found out. They then send out Charizard, and we see the pivot into the big thick boy. What a boom. Snorlax fires off the Body Slam. Speaking of Pokemon that can't tank hits, that Body Slam did so much damage to Charizard. The opponent returns fire with the Blast Burn. But in the Master League, Snorlax is so thick. This is only a Dragon Claw Snorlax, able to withstand the damage, reach one further Body Slam. The opponent hanging on to 2 Protect Shields, decide to invest one on Zard, and they're going to be very sad when we send out Ampharos. Ampharos comes out, 1 Volt Switch secures the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Gyarados. They're instantly out of here, and we're back to winning ways. In the next battle, we see Sceptile into Metagross. We've got 2 better responses in the back. However, Philthebaws opts to stay in, and we are YOLO in the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Get that Metagross out of here. Yet another huge boom from Sceptile. Out comes Sylveon. Philthebaws just YOLOing yet another Earthquake. Surely the opponent has learnt their lesson, and they have, putting up that Protect Shield. We then send out Snorlax. The opponent pivots into Waterfall Gary. We show him Ampharos, and that is probably the quickest battle I've ever seen, with Philthebaws emerging victorious. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Florges in the lead. Philthebaws banks energy, pivots into Snorlax, looking to make that catch. The opponent hold their energy and answer our Snorlax save switch with Annihilate. Philthebaws fires off the Outrage, force to Protect Shield. The opponent doesn't commit to the full counter farm down. They do opt to dump energy. The opponent fires off the Night Slash. We hang on. Unfortunately, we don't get off the Body Slam. Although, in fairness, that is double resisted and wouldn't have done all that much damage. Phil now sends out Sceptile. We instantly put up that Protect Shield. The opponent fire off yet another Night Slash. Phil again heavily overfarms before firing off the Earthquake, looking to get this ape out of it. Earthquake does secure the knockout. Phil not sitting in the best spot, unfortunately. Back out comes Florges. Sceptile insanely glassy. We might hang on if the opponent goes for a Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice isn't quite lethal. Sceptile withstands the damage and reaches 1 further Earthquake. Sceptile just going straight Earthquake all the way, and that does some very respectable damage. Phil then sends out Ampharos. Ampharos tanks the Moonblast not particularly well. The opponent's final Pokemon is Gyarados. Oh, and we're going to get Dragon Breath farmed down and take a loss. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Dragonite in the lead. Philthebaws says, nah, not what I'm looking for. And we see the save switch into the big thick boy. And once again, we're met by the enraged ape. This one is running Ice Punch. Ice Punch does some decent chip damage, but Snorlax easily hangs on, returns fire with the Outrage. Outrage goes unshielded, and you can see the big thick boy, especially the Shadow variant, running Outrage makes this very close in the Zero Shield. Ice Punch does secure the knockout. If we can get a massive Bullet Seed farm down here, Phil could be in business. Sceptile able to Bullet Seed farm down before the opponent reaches 1 further Ice Punch, which is beautiful for us. Back out comes Dragonite. Dragonite greeted with the Breaking Swipe, the first one, forced to the protection. We look to fire off the second, but unfortunately lose CMP. Philthebaws happy to invest the Protect Shield, looking to get off this next chip damage and that 50% chance of lowering the opponent's attack. The opponent goes 2 for 2, shielding Breaking Swipes. The opponent then looks to make a catch. Philthebaws reads the opponent like a book, banks the Breaking Swipe, then sends out Ampharos. This is only a Meteor Mash, which is resisted, although it doesn't really look like it. Phil farms up to the back-to-back Brutal Swings. The first one isn't going to be lethal. Can we farm down from here? Phil looks for the farm down. Ah! No. We actually get Bullet Punch farm down. Phil recognises the game's over, and unfortunately we're going to take yet another heartbreaking loss. GG's to that opponent. That loss hurt my soul. Of course, if Phil was able to Volt Switch farm down, we could have Zap Cannon Dragonite. If that wasn't lethal, we would have been able to fire off the Breaking Swipe and emerge victorious. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. In the next battle, we see Deja Vu. We see Dragonite in the lead. We save switch into Snorlax. The opponent opts to stay in, firing off the Superpower Phil, maintains health on Snorlax, invests in that Protect Shield, and out comes Excadrill. We heavily overfarm, looking to fake the Superpower. We ain't got it, but you've always got to fake it till you make it. I wonder if Phil's a keen poker player, as that bluff was a good one. Again, we bluff the Superpower, and Excadrill goes 2 for 2 and putting up Protect Shields. Phil then continues to farm up, scaring the opponent into dumping energy, which is best case scenario. Phil now sends back out Sceptile. Sceptile will have to full send an Earthquake, as Breaking Swipe unfortunately just isn't going to get the job done. The Rock Slide does some very solid chip damage. Phil just continuing to farm up. It looks like he wants to get as much energy as he physically can to threaten the likely returning Dragonite. The opponent gives up switch, sending out Metagross, and if the opponent don't know about the Earthquake coverage, they're about to find out. Earthquake near one shots. We send out Ampharos. Ampharos gets the Volt Switch farm down. Come on, bring that Dragonite out, trainer. Bring it out. The opponent thinking about what they want to do send out Dragonite, and Dragonite is also about to get boomed. Does Zap Cannon one shot? Yes, it does. Get that Dragonite out of here. Back out comes Excadrill. Excadrill going to be forced to dump energy. Drill Run, of course, going to be massive overkill. We send back out Sceptile. The opponent is low. We fire off the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe isn't quite lethal, but we manage to Bullet Seed farm down afterwards and take that game. In the next battle, we see Gyarados in the lead. A very nice shiny from the opponent. This is another matchup where we are going to be missing Leaf Blade. The opponent goes straight for an Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail won't be lethal, but these Dragon Breaths have already done so much damage. Phil farms up to the double Breaking Swipe. The first Breaking Swipe, force the Protect Shield. We then bank the second and pivot into the big thick boy. And of course we're met with yet another 8. If you watched my upload yesterday when I was running double flyers, I actually didn't see many 8 whatsoever. Annoyingly, Phil is seeing 8 every single time he seems to safe switch this Snorlax. However, you can see the big thick boy doesn't care about any counters as we make this so close in the zero shield. Phil gets Annihilate very deep into the red. We send back out Sceptile, looking to force the energy. Night Slash will be securing the knockout from this range. We send out Ampharos and get denied. Niantic, fix this motherfucking game for the love of God. As the opponent instant through there, we should have got 4 free turns of energy. I think that Volt Switch might have actually knocked out Ape as well, as they're quite deep in the red. Hopefully that isn't going to cost us this game. The opponent sends out Metagross, we full send the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon goes unshielded. Is this still winnable? Ampharos already down to around 40% health. Back out comes Gyarados. The opponent throws it really poor timing. I guess the win con's going to be look to double up. Hope to survive the Dragon Breath, and hopefully we can survive a counter as well. Phil looks for that Volt Switch farm down. Unfortunately, we get Dragon Breath farm down, and again take a very frustrating loss. In the next battle, dreadful lead. One of the worst things our Sceptile can possibly see is Togekiss, as we are completely walled by him. We save switch into Snorlax. The opponent sends out Garchomp, show no respect to the outrage, and get rocked very deep into the red. Phil smells the opportunity to take back switch, shields up the incoming Earth Power. Snorlax looks for the lick farm down. Heartbreakingly, the opponent reaches the dying Earth Power. Phil forced to burn both Protect Shields. We have managed to flip that really terrible alignment. Back out comes Togekiss. Snorlax able to force a Protect Shield back. The big thick boy spamming out Body Slam after Body Slam. The next one goes unshielded. Can we reach one more? I think we could. The opponent decides not to risk it for a biscuit. Throw the Ancient Power, securing the knockout. We send out Ampharos. The opponent then sends out Gyarados. Ampharos absolutely cooking. We are going to be able to survive this Aqua Tail, and I think we've got a pivot. Phil banks the Zap Cannon for the road, sends out Sceptile. I believe this is only an Aqua Tail, right? It is an Aqua Tail. The opponent should have committed to the crunch. They did not. We get the Bullet Seed farm down. Back out comes Togekiss. Both moves are double resisted. We fire off the Breaking Swipe, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We then fire off one further Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe isn't quite lethal. Do they have a charge move banked? They do not. We fire off the zap cannon, hit no bubbles, but it's still going to be more than enough to secure the dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Goodra in the lead. Goodra, PvPoke's #1 ranked pick. I think Sceptile's ranked like 150th. We go straight for the break-in swipe. Break-in swipe forces us early shield advantage. We should completely wall. The usual moveset of Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch. The opponent fires off the Thunder Punch. We actually tanked that really well, to be honest. Thunder Punch, a pretty mid move. 40 energy for 55 damage. If you are running Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch, if both moves are resisted or both moves are neutral, you should always go Aqua Tail. It also does 55 damage, but only costs 35 energy, so it is more energy efficient. Sceptile able to get Goodra into the raid, but then send out Snorlax to operate as the damage sponge. The opponent does have Aqua Tail. They did misplay that opening matchup. Far enough a Thunder Punch. Aqua Tail would have been the way to go. I think this opponent has no idea what they're doing, to be honest. They threw a Thunder Punch at Sceptile, then threw an Aqua Tail, and then threw a Thunder Punch. Why? I have no idea. Out comes Ursaluna. Ursaluna is something that Ampharos absolutely doesn't want to see, but luckily we've got shield advantage, so I guess we can just start shielding up Snorlax, looking to get this thing as low as possible. Phil evidently agrees, putting up that Protect Shield. The opponent, to my surprise, actually got Fire Punch. I think if you're going to run Ursaluna, high horsepower is a must. This is the only move that can do any meaningful damage, as it gets same type attack bonus, and I think the elemental punch you're looking for is either Ice Punch for the Dragons or Thunder Punch for the Gary. We pivot, catch them the next Fire Punch onto Ampharos, and out comes Gary. What a counter swap. Phil fires off the first Brutal Swing, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We're able to reach one further Brutal Swing. Gyarados hangs on a sliver of HP. I think the win con here is just tank whatever the opponent throw, lick farm down, and body slam Ursaluna. The opponent's running Twister as well. What is going on in this battle? Phil manages to emerge victorious, but that battle was pretty bizarre. Heading into the next one. Sceptile into Mamoswine. I'm not going to say it, but you know what I think we're missing. However, the opponent doesn't know we haven't got it. We fire off the break-in swipe. The opponent craps their pants, putting up that Protect Shield. Phil continues to stay in, and it looks like we're completely sacking Sceptile. Sceptile won't be landing any boons in this battle. Out comes Snorlax. Avalanche, one of the very finest moves in the game, is a Side Strike clone, and it is going to land for a lot of damage. Phil tanks the first one. It looks like he's going to shield the second, and then look to maximise his energy. Snorlax licks this big mammoth into a range where Body Slam will be securing the knockout. Mamoswine put in so much work. Out comes Gyarados. Phil banks double Body Slam, pivots into Ampharos, drawing out Chandelure. I thought this game looked as good as over, but we very much have a chance. The first Brutal Swing forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Phil with a Protect Shield too high behind, going to invest it here. Phil then fires off one Volt Switch and the Brutal Swing. It's going to be high Chandelure, by Chandelure. Chandelure makes a very brief cameo appearance. Back out comes Gyarados. Gyarados fires off the Aqua Tail, securing the knockout. The question is, do two Body Slams knock out? Does this do 50% the remainder of the HP? Yes, it does. I cannot believe Phil is going to win this game. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. We need Shadow Sceptile into Gyarados. The opponent running Waterfall, so actually quite a favourable matchup despite not having Leaf Blade. The opponent builds up energy, send out Annihilate, we go straight for the Earthquake. Earthquake rocks Ape below half health, and then we send out a Snorlax. After landing that Earthquake, Snorlax should be able to lick farm all the way down. The opponent fires off the Shadow Ball. That certainly isn't the players, it's double resisted, but Phil not complaining. Snorlax does get a huge lick farm down. Back out comes Gyarados, and Gyarados is going to be greeted with the Body Slam spam. The first Body Slam lands some decent chip damage. The second one won't be lethal, but might force a Protect Shield. The opponent unwilling to shield. They do commit to the full Waterfall farm down. We send back out Sceptile. Are we going to respect the crunch? We see the instant no shield deployed. Crunch, oof, almost knocks us out. We snipe with Ampharos. Show me something weak. Oh, it's a 2-shield Charmer. I think the win con is Phil landing this nuke through 2 Protect Shields. We full send. Does the opponent respect the damage? Oh, man. Yes, they do. And we're going to concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Haxorus in the lead. In the battle of the break-in swipe users, Sceptile does have the pacing advantage, taking only 9 turns to each one, whereas Ampharos takes 10 turns. We force ourselves early shield advantage. Phil shields at the next break-in swipe. Phil unwilling to throw out poor timing, which means he's going to have to double shield if he wants to throw out good timing and get off this next break-in swipe. We do see the last shield deploy. Phil then fires off the first break-in swipe. The first one goes unshielded. Sceptile able to reach the next. Let's see if the opponent's also willing to go all shields down. No, they're not. They're actually able to survive. Phil gets the bullet seed farm down, and out comes Mamoswine. Holy cow, winning switch was everything, as of course we wouldn't want Ampharos anywhere near this thing. Although as the opponent still has a protect shield, too high behind, we could be in trouble. The opponent actually tried to make a super power catch onto Gyarados. Phil banks all of his energy, sends out Ampharos. Ampharos greeted with the crunch. Phil looking for that Volt Switch farm down, at least I thought he was. He's actually opting to throw the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing goes unshielded, back out comes Mamoswine. Phil fires off the next Brutal Swing. If the opponent Powder Snow farm us all the way down, this is GG's. The opponent does get that full Powder Snow farm down. Snorlax fires off the Body Slam, but the opponent has a Protect Shield, too high behind, and we're going to lose CMP. Very well played to the opponent. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Sceptile into Goodra. If this opponent's also on an Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch, this isn't a bad matchup whatsoever. Phil actually opting to go straight Earthquake. Breaking Swipe is super effective, but Earthquake will do more damage. We then pivot into the big thick boy. The opponent has a boatload of energy. Are we about to get Draco? Nah, it's just an Aqua Tail. And of course, what else are Snorlax going to be met with other than Annihilate? Phil, as always, going straight Outrage. Outrage lands, rocking Ape below half health. The opponent fires off the Night Slash, which of course is the correct play. Always throw Night Slash or Ice Punch, never the double resisted Shadow Ball. Phil now sends back out Sceptile. Phil actually chooses shield at the next Night Slash. I don't think we can Bullet Seed farm down. Phil actually going to go all in on Sceptile. We've got hardly any HP. The opponent even gets the boost. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Breaking Swipe does secure the knockout. We've got a Breaking Swipe banked, which we are going to throw at the returning Goodra. I think we really need this to go unshielded. The opponent invests that Protect Shield and feels like, nah, I've had enough. And he is going to concede the match. And that is going to draw to a close today's showcase. A huge shout out to philthebaws for showcasing some very spicy Pokemon in the Master League Premier Cup. Of course, he did suffer quite a few defeats, but what do you expect? That was a prime example of showcasing just how hard it is to get wins when you're running some very spicy picks. But I can honestly say that was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, buddy. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. My battle submission form is linked down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.